Hi guys, welcome to Travel with Austin. I'm Austin, and today we're going to be talking about the hauntings of Brandy Gap Tunnel number 2. So now, I actually already did a video here, went through everything that I knew, which wasn't much. But as I was leaving the tunnel, I realized I had self-service out here, which was kind of surprising. I decided to look up if there were any haunting legends to this, and there's actually quite a bit. So first, I want to give out a shout out to West Virginia Ghosts and Legends. I'm actually going to link that website in the description because that is where I got most of this information from. So, the first thing that I actually mentioned in my previous video is that somewhere up above this tunnel on the hillside, there is a cemetery. Now, I actually probably could do further research into this cemetery because I don't know if the cemetery is before the tunnel was built, after the tunnel was built, or if bodies were moved or anything. But it does seem, based off the wording on the West Virginia Ghosts and Legends website, that the cemetery still exists, and the idea that I could at some point be walking under dead bodies in this very long tunnel is a bit unsettling to me. So, the first legend we're going to talk about is actually the death of a rail inspector. Now, this story is kind of weird to me because it takes place in January of 1853, and as you can see on the tunnel, it actually says 1868. So I'm not sure if maybe that was when the tunnel was redone, or if this is like the Eaton Tunnel, where the original tunnel was next to it and collapsed at some point, and they just boarded it up. But of course, I can see no reason or proof of that. Now, basically, the story goes that on January 15th, 1853, there was a railroad inspector here inspecting the rails, and what they called a mound of earth fell on him. Now, it's very important to note that that happened on a Saturday, and I'll get into that later. But he was taken to the hospital, and he later died. Now, the website also mentions that there was a suicide on the tracks here. It didn't go into much detail from what I could see, but if I had to guess, someone probably jumped in front of a train. However, the one story that really caused me to want to make this video was the story of the Tommyknockers. Now, Tommyknockers are kind of a folklore thing in railroad, mining communities, caving communities, basically anything where you're underground. Now, basically, a Tommyknocker can be a small little devil, a small little angel, an evil spirit, a good spirit. It can also be the ghost of a miner that died before you. Now, basically, a Tommyknocker is a spirit that makes noise. So, the noise that are most often associated with them are popping, crackling, things like that. And essentially, these noises tell you that you should get out of wherever you are, because the whole place is about to come down on you. Now, one important thing about the Tommyknockers is that they don't work on Saturdays. So, in 1853, when that man was in what I presume was this tunnel, or maybe the beginnings of this tunnel, on a Saturday, legend is that there were no Tommyknockers to warn him. But the story that really made me want to make this video is about the Tommyknockers. So this was actually published in a newspaper. I believe it was 1927. I want to say it was called the Sandusky Star, but I'm not 100% sure about that because the only Sandusky I know is in Ohio, and it's pretty far away from here. So basically, this man was walking through the tunnel, and he heard a voice talking to him. And as he went deeper and deeper into the tunnel, he could hear the voice getting closer. And as he got to the center of the tunnel, it was pitch dark. Which, of course, if you've ever been in one of these tunnels, you know that's a very common thing. Although you can see light on both ends, in the middle, it's almost completely dark. And he heard a voice coming and talking to him from one of these alcoves, which, if you don't know, are basically little structures that one can hide in if a train were to pass by. Now, he hears this voice, but of course he can't see anything because it's very, very dark in the tunnel. So he walks up as close as he can, and he turns his light on. But when he turned his light on, instead of seeing whoever was talking to him, he saw absolutely nothing. Now, stories like this are pretty interesting to me. Although it's just like any other legend that we have, it gets published. And I think that makes these stories kind of unique, because there's actual records of them. And of course, this happened all the time back in the past. Looking back to the Mothman in the 60s, or even the Macedonia Devil Church, which would have been 30 years before this incident. But reading that story really made me want to do this video. And I love stories like that, because every time that I'm in one of these tunnels, I often find myself looking back to make sure that there's no one behind me. Because when you walk through something this old, it does always feel like there could be someone right behind you, following you. So anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. I make new videos every week. And thank you guys for watching.